Hi, everyone. It's Lauren Conlin from Pop Crime TV. I'm doing a very impromptu live stream right now because what else do I do? I do have another appointment at noon, so this will be quick, but I wanted to hop on to go over the latest with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni because things seem to be heating up right now, and I haven't done a live stream since I went through Blake's initial lawsuit. And Justin has since filed his with the New York Times. There's been voice memos released. So there's a lot more going on. Hi, Sinead. Hi, Sheila. Thank you so much for joining me last minute. Thank you also to Sheila for tweeting this out. I appreciate it. Yay. Hey, Taryn. Happy to see you guys. So I feel a little bit torn. Oh, and I also want to go over just the Alison Holker backlash that she's facing with her recent People magazine interview about her late husband, DJ Twitch. So sad. May he rest in peace. But yeah, I'm having this back and forth in my head about Justin Baldoni. And I don't know if I am being too hard on him. I did read his lawsuit. I've read Blake Lively's. I've weighed a few things, and I want to play a short that Perez Hilton did, which actually plays this leaked voice memo. Hey, Forrest, good to see you guys. So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against the New York Times, he talks about you know what? I'll pull this up in a second, but he basically talks about the fact that there is no context behind Blake Lively's lawsuit, and certain things were omitted for context, as things as simple as an emoji being omitted from a text message. I have thoughts on this here. I really do, because he's saying some of his text messages and emails that were between his team going back and forth about Lively, he's saying, well, they need to make sure that people know this isn't us or that's not us. So it kind of seemed to me like they were taking responsibility for some things that were said about Blake Lively, but not everything that was said. So it was kind of like they're picking and choosing what they were responsible for. And in Blake Lively's lawsuit, she has screenshots literally of Justin saying, this is what we would need. And it's a screenshot of Hailey Bieber being bullied and dragged. So he did initially want this smear campaign to happen. Now, whether or not he had this buyer's remorse because it went too far, that's my question here. That is my question, because if she left out context in her lawsuit, fine. But from what I saw, he started it. He started this smear campaign. Now, one thing that I will say where I was like, he might have a point here. And if you read his lawsuit and hers, Blake Lively talked about how he wanted extra sex scenes or intimacy scenes, and she felt like they were inappropriate, and they were also being rehearsed without this intimacy coordinator. Now, Justin put a text message in the lawsuit that said that he was going to meet with the intimacy coordinator, and Blake Lively said, great. And I'll show you guys this, but she initially said, great, I will meet with her, when we start filming. Basically saying, I don't need to meet with her before, I'll just meet with her after. So Justin Baldoni screenshotted this, sent it to another producer, and that producer said, okay, well, what you can do, Justin, is meet with the intimacy coordinator and then relay what you guys talked about to Blake Lively. So I was like, okay, I kind of get that. So Blake Lively kind of twisted that and said, well, he's telling me all these awkward things about our sex scenes and this and that, and there was no intimacy coordinator present. Well, he did offer that. However, she didn't say she wouldn't meet with the intimacy coordinator. That's not what she said at all. She just said she would meet with her or him, whoever it was, when they started filming. That right there, I was like, okay, he's got a bit of a point there. But as for the whole smear campaign, I really do believe that Justin's team was responsible for that. And yeah, it went too far. But I love these comments. There's three sides to the story here: Justin's, Blake's, and the truth. And I think maybe both of them have a little bit of truth to everything they said. But I guess my question here is, it seemed like the entire cast was on Blake's side. So when Justin was excluded or sent to the basement for the premiere, I mean, it wasn't necessarily Blake Lively. Apparently, it was the entire cast that did this. So that tells me two things: either people felt like Blake was a bit more powerful, maybe, and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, they had a bit more power. So they were like, well, if we had to choose, are we going to choose this no-name guy, Justin Baldoni, or are we going to choose Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds? However, Justin Baldoni, I mean, he does have access to billionaires here. Jamie Heath, I mean, he has a lot of money. So Justin Baldoni yields his own type of power as well. Again, I guess if you're facing Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, maybe Jenny Slate and some of the other cast members were like, all right, we're going to side with them. I feel like it's tough. I just can't tell if I'm being a little bit too hard on Justin Baldoni, but from everything that I've gathered here, he started the smear campaign in retaliation uh, because of this list that she put out before they started filming again. He was worried. So possibly he wanted to put out some bad press, so maybe she'd be knocked off her high horse. Who knows? Oh, hey, Sal. How are you? Okay, Sinead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you Perez Hilton's short that he did where this voice memo is released. And let me give you some background here, because I'm not super sold on this. Number one, I like Perez Hilton. He's actually in this is what's so funny. He's in Baldoni's lawsuit with the Times, and his PR team is talking a lot of crap about Perez Hilton, saying that he's no one cared about him after 2005. He's irrelevant, all this stuff. And Perez Hilton seems to have taken the stance of he's Team Baldoni. And I have thoughts on this, because Baldoni, his lawyer is Brian Friedman, and that's Perez Hilton's lawyer as well. So Perez could easily be getting information from Brian. He's obviously hearing it from one side, but I also trust Perez Hilton. I mean, he's been around long enough that he most likely does hear both sides of the argument. But if you have a direct source, someone that you're texting with, I mean, it seems to me that you're going to get one side in your ear more than the other side. So again, back to this voice memo here. I send voice memos. I don't keep them normally. That's just me. You guys can weigh in if you keep your voice memos. And Sinead, your comment, yes, Perez was very nasty back in the day. He was the original, I don't know, he was a bully. He was totally a bully. He caused a lot of problems, but he's since apologized. And his coverage, while it's gossipy because that's his thing, it is a lot more respectful. Anyway, so going back to this voice memo, please let me know, do any of you guys, number one, keep voice memos that you record? And number two, do you guys keep other people's voice memos? And I know there's an option that you can keep it. I just don't necessarily do that. And yes, correct. Be super careful who you send audios to and what's it about. I agree, Sinead. But this is where I'm like, okay, Justin sent this voicemail to his team. His team, these are his people who have been very aware of this entire situation that's been going on between Blake and Justin. We also know that Justin hired a very expensive team, and we haven't seen all the text messages, right? We haven't seen half of them. There's a really good chance that this team told Justin, no matter what, in your text messages, because hello, these people aren't stupid. They know that somehow, some way, things could possibly be released. Emails, text messages, voice memos, whatever, they could. So did they tell Justin to possibly take the high road, make make it look like he is just above everything, he is not bothered by anything, and just to make him look good? Because it does seem convenient that a voice memo like this would be saved. Was this voice memo premeditated? Because in my opinion, it just seems like he's trying really hard, and it's all planned. And I again, I don't know if I'm being too hard on him, but let me just play it right now for you all. You've threatening voicemail saved. Right, Taryn, that makes sense. I would save things that I needed to save to hold against someone, I guess. I mean, not that I do that, or I hope I don't do that, or I won't do that, or better yet, I won't have to do that. But would you save a voice memo of someone just being like, it's okay that I went to the base? Just wait. Okay, I'll just play it. I'll just shut up and I will play it. Okay. I can make this a little bit bigger. Hi, Dizzy. How are you, gorgeous? I'm having trouble with my StreamYard right now, so I might not make this bigger. But I think the most important thing is that you hear it right now.
With us drama.
Turn it up.
And
sorry.
yes, it was leaked by his own lawyer. Brian Friedman, who also is my lawyer, was chatting with Megyn Kelly and gave her this voice memo. I have not heard it yet, so we will listen to it together for the first time, and I will react and share my thoughts in real time.
We have here exclusively Justin Baldoni speaking to what he called his dream team, those who had been helping him edit the films and get it to finality, lamenting the fact that he was put in the basement on the premiere of his own movie, he says, per Blake's demands. Take a listen to that.
Okay, pause. I've shared that with you all. There was a lot of drama at the premiere of It Ends With Us. She and the cast refused to take photos with him. He couldn't even be in the same.
Okay, so did you hear that? She and the cast. It wasn't just Blake. I just want to make that clear.
Same theater as her. And asterisk, I hope Megyn Kelly or her producers did their due diligence and verified, somehow were able to confirm that this voice memo was indeed from last year. Voice memos, I think, well, actually, wait a minute. Don't voice memos expire?
You can save them.
I guess not if you save it. And then are they dated? Is there a way to confirm the date? Let's just work under the assumption that this is truly a voice memo from last year and listen to it. So, at the premiere or right after the premiere, he sent this voice memo.
Voice text in part.
Think about this. On what, could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise, I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast. So they ushered me off the carpet and they sent us down to the basement. We were down there together, my friends and family, the people that love me the most, and they start laughing because of the ridiculousness of this whole thing. And I realized, on a night that was supposed to be so...
I mean, sorry, Perez is just eating this up right now. I feel like I'm a little more skeptical here, but that's just me.
Materialistically joyful. I was in the basement with the people that I love the most, and we were all joyful and laughing because none of that shit matters. None of it. That's not why we're in the business. That's not why the three of us are in this business, is to attend a premiere like that and be celebrated. We're in this business because we are artists.
Okay.
And we believe in what we do. And because we want to create art that touches people's hearts and souls and can move people. And that's what we did. That's what you both did. And I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light and love will win.
I'm sorry, guys. Please, am I off base here? Does that seem so premeditated and rehearsed?
That's not why we're here. We're not here for fancy premieres. We're here to make art and love and light, and that's what we did.
I can't tell if I'm being too hard on him, because Perez again seems to be very touched by this, and yeah,
Light and love will win.
I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I don't think I would. Whatever. Okay. All right. Fine. I'll just continue this. I just can't tell if I'm being too judgy with him. I cannot tell. But again, Perez Hilton, he has the same lawyer as Justin Baldoni. Who knows? He's probably hearing one side more than the other.
Aww. Well, obviously the first thing that comes to my mind is he doesn't sound angry. He sounds hurt, but not angry. And he definitely doesn't sound vindictive.
Of course not.
He sounds like he's rising above.
Oh.
And that's just a little carrot that his lawyer is dangling. I'm sure there is a lot more where that came from, but I'm glad we listened to this. This voice memo was illuminating. That's a great word.
Really?
It was illuminating.
Illuminating?
And why hasn't Brian Friedman leaked me any voice memos or anything? Hello, I'm here. Thoughts on what we heard? Thoughts on the latest developments? Let me know in the comments section.
Okay. I mean, guys, I want to look at. Okay, I'm looking at the comments right now because I just want to know if I'm being crazy. Okay. Let me make this a little bit smaller, and I will go back to my beautiful picture of Blake and Justin Baldoni. Okay, Carla, hi. Thank you for being here. What about how Ryan took control over the Deadpool franchise? Ted Miller in 2019 said on how he didn't want to continue with the franchise due to yes. Okay, great point. And we've seen this a lot, in particular with this movie as well, how Blake Lively, in Justin's allegations in his lawsuit, how Blake Lively, she was a producer, but he said she overstepped a bit on the creative stuff, and they had some differences, and she kind of pushed through and made these threats, well, I'll leave if you don't do XYZ. And I've heard this too. I really have. I guess my question here is, again, it seems like most of the cast is on Team Blake, except for Justin's quote dream team, which is who he hired personally. And that's Wayfarer and Jamie Heath and, you know, that whole team. So I think it's tough. I think it's really tough, but I completely understand what you're saying. And I've heard that. Has anyone else heard that? And thank you, Sal. I know that voice, my husband hates it. It's so cringy. He's like, can you stop? That's the voice you do for everybody. And now I get busted if I do that voice and I'm doing an impression of him. He's like, I know that you're making fun of me now because that's the voice that you used. Okay. You guys do kind of agree with me. And like I said, you know that I love to have these discussions. Ooh, Blake reminds you of Amber. Interesting. That's interesting. I personally, I felt like a lot of celebrities did not go to Amber's aid or her rescue and really stick up for her like they have with Blake. And not just celebrities. I'm talking directors. Paul Feig, who directed A Simple Favor, he stuck up for Blake and saying, what? She's not like that. So I can see what you're saying because I've seen a lot of people say that Blake Lively is full of it. I don't know what to make here because I do feel like she has some really good points with the screenshots, specifically the one of Justin texting his PR team and saying, this is what we would need. And then that screenshot of Hailey Bieber getting dragged, he said that. So I don't know. I also I don't know what just happened. I'm very sorry. I got kicked off my own stream. This is so weird. I swear, you guys, I did not do anything. I really did not do anything there. That was not my fault. Okay. Yeah, StreamYard is being a little weird. What is going on here? It wasn't a magic trick, but yes, I do kind of feel that in my gut. And it says, look how many, yeah, Taryn, look how many people trashed Depp before the trial. We'll never know until it goes to court. And on my last stream, I had actually said something like, I don't know if this is ever going to go to court because stuff like this doesn't, before she had filed it with the California Civil Appeals Court. And it was just, it wasn't something that I thought would make it to trial. But now it looks like it is. And it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. I believe this is going to go to trial. And this community here is going to be like, oh my gosh. And I mean, both of these teams, Lively and Baldoni, they're going to have money and they're going to have power on their side. Yes, I'm back. So it will be interesting. But really quickly, thanks to Dizzy, I have the New York Times, Baldoni's New York Times lawsuit that, I mean, the thing is, I can go over like where he says certain things and this is, let me just show you this. He's saying, oh, this is so important. This context is so important. I'm scared to make myself bigger and make things bigger right now because I don't want to get kicked off again. Okay, here we go. This is what I don't necessarily understand here. He's claiming that little emoji, you really outdid yourself with this piece. He's saying that little emoji is so important because it provides sarcastic context. And they're referring to this whole, could Blake Lively be canceled? That's what Jen Abel wrote. And then Melissa Nathan wrote, that's why you hired me, right? I'm the best. And then they didn't include her next text messages was heading to the airport and there is a drive through the jungle that there's going to be no reception for around 24 hours. Joke, 45 minutes. I don't get why that's so important. I don't, and that's just me. Why is that so important? Sure, it's sarcastic, but you guys still said it and you're still referring to a hit piece on Blake Lively, which is what, in my opinion, was planned the entire time because of what I saw in Blake Lively's lawsuit, I guess. And I know that they are alleging we can't see all of the context, but what I did see was that this was initially started by Justin's team. Why else would he hire this major PR crisis team if he wasn't planning on, quote unquote, retaliating for her stipulations before they began filming again? And yeah, sorry, you're right, Sinead. You can get it in for trial, but I just meant from what I read about Blake's lawsuit and Justin filing his own lawsuit, a lot of the time that experts had said that could be settled outside of court during mediation. But at this point, it sounds like it's not going to be settled outside of court. It will be settled, with a trial. That's my guess. That's my speculation at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think that maybe it went too far. And something else, the journalist that went viral about that horrible interview with Blake, and saying, well, congrats on your little bump. Congrats on your little bump, blah, blah, blah. That whole thing, Justin's team had said they had nothing to do with. She put that out there all on her own. But she piled on. It was just part of the pile on. I mean, maybe she did put that out on her own and no one told her to, but it's because Blake was getting this bad press that I believe was planted by Justin's team. And so, of course, when you're a journalist, when you're a reporter, when you do this stuff, you do, that what's going to be successful for you is to just keep working off of these keywords and this content. So yeah, like when a celebrity passes away or when something happens with a certain celebrity, a lot of people who have past interactions with them will dig up those interactions and post them. So let me look at some of these comments. All of Lively's claims have already been proven false or fake. Maybe do more research. Okay, so if you're just joining, I did address one of them that I believed was a really good point on Justin's end, which was the fact that she did not meet with the intimacy coordinator. So yeah, I do believe that. I believe that he had a good point there. The issue about, and I haven't addressed this on this live yet, but the issue about the corn, it rhymes with corn, that was, bye Sal, thanks for joining, that was shown to Blake Lively, that Justin said this wasn't corn, this was his producing partner's wife, her home birth. I mean, Lively also alleged that they had talked about their rhymes with corn addictions in front of her and in front of her employees. And even her driver had said to her, I don't want you to be alone with him because of what he saw with his own eyes and ears. So, I mean, sure, maybe that right there in particular wasn't rhymes with corn, but I mean, who are we to say that there wasn't other instances of that, because we weren't there? And I think a lot of that will come out. But I appreciate your insight, and yeah, I mean, sure, I agree with that. But again, is there more? I mean, I don't know. She alleges that they talked about this rhymes with corn addiction in front of her. So I have to think that she wouldn't accuse them of that if that didn't happen, especially when she adds the phrase "and her employees." To me, that means there were witnesses. But I fully understand why a lot of people don't believe what she said, and I fully understand why a lot of people don't believe what Justin said. So yeah, I mean, I think that again, watching the trial when they actually set a date or there's a hearing, I mean, let's see. I'm on the edge of my seat here because again, I don't know if I'm being too harsh with some of my assumptions or my judgments here. I just, in my gut, when I don't know how to say this without, when a man is trying so hard to be sensitive, that's what I gather from him. That's me. I watched some of his TED Talk. There was like a clip of it, and I felt like it was, I don't know, it was not genuine in my opinion. But let's see. Ooh, this is an interesting comment. This is not Blake versus Justin. This is Ryan versus Justin under the cloak of Blake Lively, and it's all about the money. Ooh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I mean, in Justin's lawsuit, and this is also something that I don't want to say I can sympathize with, but I understand his discomfort. But also, I understand Ryan Reynolds in this situation as well. I mean, Justin Baldoni claims that Ryan Reynolds approached him about asking Blake's weight. He asked Blake's trainer what her weight was because he had to pick her up for a scene, and apparently he has some slip discs or something. And Blake's trainer told Ryan Reynolds and Blake that Justin was asking what her weight was, and I'm sure Blake had told and her husband some other things that were going on or that she felt uncomfortable with. And yeah, I'm sure Ryan Reynolds was like, that's it. This stops right here. So he confronted Justin Baldoni about the whole thing about her weight. And Baldoni was like, this has just got completely blown out of proportion. So I see both sides there. I actually do. Because maybe it was a simple question. How much does she weigh? I have back problems. Or maybe it wasn't. I mean, yes. And agree, Sinead, any husband would do the same, especially if their wife is very upset. And also, I want to remind everyone and anyone who has had children, and I don't care if you've had children or not, but if you have had children, you might understand that postpartum is no joke. I mean, I don't know I've only had 2 kids. I don't know what it's like after your 4th kid, but she was about 4 months postpartum. And I got to say that I'm sure her emotions, she was sensitive. I mean, I'm still sensitive if somebody's oh, she's too big. She's that. Still, I'm very sensitive about that. And I think a lot of women are. I mean, you'd have to be so secure in yourself to not be sensitive if a man is asking how much you weigh, because in my opinion, he wouldn't ask that if he wasn't concerned with your weight, about your weight being too much for him to lift. Let me see. Yeah, totally. You're right. Maybe he wouldn't ask how much you weigh without a caveat about his back. Absolutely. And by the way, I really appreciate your respectfulness in your comments and us kind of going back and forth. And that goes for everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I agree. But again, in my opinion, as a female, somebody, back issues or not, they wouldn't ask about my weight unless they were a little bit concerned about my weight being too heavy for them to lift. That's all. And then, yeah, maybe if I had just had a baby, that would sort of get in my brain a little bit and it would upset me. So again, I see both sides there where Justin's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was just asking, because of my back. And Blake and Ryan are like, how dare he? This is enough after all of this, stuff was just compounding. That's just me. So again, I think that we'll find out more as gosh, I mean, I don't know. You know what, Dizzy, do you know what is happening next here? I mean, I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of a response with at least one of their teams here. And I'm really anxious for it. Let me see. Blake was a mean girl before all of this, and she reminds me of Amber a bit. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot, that Blake was a mean girl. But again, I never met her. I don't know her. Something I had said on a prior stream, and I don't know, again, if this is just based on your status in Hollywood, right? When Leah Michele from Glee was outed as a mean girl, there was a pile on. Everybody was piling on, saying, this was my experience with Leah Michele. She did this, she did that. It was awful. When this came out about Blake, really what we saw was the journalist who had that horrible experience with Blake, but went on to interview her multiple times after that. And then we saw the backlash of, what was it? Oh, it was Blake's response or comment about Kate Middleton's cancer. She made a joke on her Instagram or something like that. And then she publicly came out and apologized and said she was mortified because she had no idea that Kate had cancer, just like the rest of us. And she did not mean for that joke to be so insensitive. She was just mortified. And then, yeah, I mean, but that was really it. You didn't see any of her co-stars previously. You didn't see Leighton Meester. You didn't see, or just even random people, random extras, or people that were on set for any of the, hundreds of movies or shows that she's done. You didn't really see them come and pile on like everybody did for Leah Michele. So I thought that was something as well. Gretchen, something about Blake that also lingers. In her complaint letter, she mentions the downfall of her new hair care line. I think that is pushing this a lot for that. Oh, that's interesting. And also, that was part of her joke about Kate Middleton. She said something about her hair care line that starts with a B. I forget what it's called, but that was part of it. So yeah, maybe, absolutely, maybe. It's weird though, because I just don't think that Blake's lawsuit is about money. Blake and Ryan, it's not about money. And I don't necessarily think it's about burying Justin Baldoni either, because he really is, he's not big enough, I guess, where he yields all this power. Maybe, possibly, she really did just have this horrific just experience working on his movie. Maybe that's the truth. And again, I go back to the fact that the whole cast seemed to side with Blake, except for Baldoni's dream team. What is this? Do you personally consider a fat shame if you were in a play, a guy your height tasked to lift you and ask for your weight? I mean, I feel like I don't know. This is me. I don't think anybody should ask anybody's weight per se. But I wouldn't necessarily think it was that by itself was fat shaming. I think I would need to have a little more, okay, let's go back to this. For example, Blake said in her lawsuit that Justin referred to her to a weight loss specialist, a holistic weight loss specialist. And this is when she had strep throat. I had mentioned this before. Some people said that people with strep throat or holistic experts that deal with strep throat also deal with weight loss. I didn't exactly see that online, but I mean, that's just me. I mean, yeah. So I think compounded, she felt fat shamed. Him asking her weight, him maybe referring her to a weight loss specialist. I just that's what I'm reading. So yeah, maybe those together that could be considered fat shaming. But no, if I'm in a play and someone's like, "How much do you weigh?" I just want to know so I can lift you. I wouldn't love it, but I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't let it just completely ruin the relationship, I guess, if that makes sense. Since I brought up the female point of view, I just want to say as a male, you don't tend to mess with the lady of a rich and powerful man. If a girl is flirting with me and her boyfriend's a scary guy, I'd say, okay, yeah, that's really interesting. Really, really interesting. And yes, the power dynamics are in favor of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. But again, look up Jamie Heath, look up his net worth. He's worth a pretty penny as well. Yeah, exactly. You forgot about the sending her to some holistic expert who was actually a weight loss expert. But again, I appreciate all points of view, and it is helping me with context in learning more about this because I read the lawsuits. I did, and I'm trying to just put all of this together. And while I really appreciate Perez Hilton's perspective, I have noticed he is sort of leaning towards Justin Baldoni because I think, my opinion, they share the same lawyer. And you are so welcome. Thank you for your fair comments and questions here. And like I said, I really enjoy the pushback because I don't think it's very fun for everybody to always agree. I think we should do it in a respectful way. And I appreciate everybody. So if you're new, I would love for you to like and subscribe to this channel. And speaking of disagreeing respectfully, I do want to get to Allison Holker before I join my 12. Oh, and what I'm doing at 12, by the way, I don't know if any of you subscribe to this podcast, but it's called Mother Knows Death. So I'll be a guest on that. It's a pre-record, but it's under the Elvis Duran umbrella. But it's so great. It's a mother and daughter, and it's awesome. We're going to be, the mom has like 1.5 million followers, Nicole Angemi on Instagram. She's amazing. But yeah, so I'll be doing that at 12. But this is so random. There is an actor. His name is Evan Handler. And for those of you that follow me on X, you probably know. Oh, Sinead, sorry. Yes, I love Elvis Duran too. So it's a pre-record, but when it's out, I'll send you guys all the link. But okay, let me just go into this tea really quick. Those of you who know me, I don't argue on X. It's just silly, and I have a lot more stuff to worry about. But I do tend to comment, and I try to comment respectfully, and I try to see both sides of everything. I try to see both sides of the aisle politically, all of that. So Evan Handler is best known for playing Charlotte York's husband on Sex and the City. And he wrote this tweet about Rudy Giuliani being held in contempt at court. And this literally, I said something and it had nothing to do with anything but the fact that I did not think that the judge was fair in Rudy Giuliani's situation, his defamation situation. And I say that because I followed that. I follow what I can because it's not televised, obviously. But anyway, so this judge will not even look at filings or motions. He won't take any time for any of his rulings. He just rules and he's like, no, no, no. So he held Rudy in contempt, and he was ordering Rudy Giuliani to hand over family heirlooms and all this stuff, like his grandfather's watch. And so I just wrote this comment, like, whatever side of the political aisle you're on, I hope that we can all agree that this hasn't exactly been a fair trial from this point on. But, and like I said, I was super respectful, and I'll show it to you guys because it's so funny. And I don't know what I was expecting. I just was expecting him to maybe disagree respectfully, but that was too much to ask. So the guy from Sex and the City, you probably can't see this, but this is his response. And he wrote, F you, like a really, like a F you really long. You appear to have no sympathy whatsoever for the low earning women he blithely defames, sent hordes of death threats towards, and still insists lies are criminals. Sorry, F him and you. And I was just thinking to myself, and this is what I responded, because I was like, we're not talking about that. And I just wrote, of course I feel sympathy for them, but my comment to you was about the trial and the case itself. I mean, I was just in shock. Like, no wonder people can't have civil discussions. I mean, yes, it's crazy. It was Evan Handler. He plays Charlotte York's husband on Sex and the City. But I mean, it's just weird. Like, cry harder, I guess. But no, I really appreciate civil discussions. And I think that there's a way to separate the way you feel emotionally with what's kind of on paper, if that makes sense. And what I really wanted to say is, well, I hope that you're never in a situation where you get a judge and that judge hates Hollywood. So there we go. But really fast, I want to switch gears just for a few minutes before I have to run to Allison Holker, who's facing backlash for her interview with People magazine and her upcoming memoir, which is released or will be released on February 4th. I would like to share the People magazine interview with everybody. And yes, exactly, trial junkies. He never went to debate club. It's very obvious, because it's just like, guys, I can be emotional just as much as the next person can. And I've actually been called emotional because I do have opinions. But I mean, you have to separate your emotions sometimes between how you feel and what's actually going on. And I know that this can be hard, because you have people that followed the Delphi trial who really felt like Richard Allen wasn't getting a fair trial. But we're talking about the M of two little girls here. So it's really difficult. But anyway, quickly, let's go to this. I just want to explain to you what's happening here. So Allison Holker, she is DJ Twitch's widow. He died by suicide in 2022. A lot of people were really shocked to see this. I mean, you never know what's going on behind closed doors, but by all accounts, DJ Twitch seemed to be happy. They had a happy marriage. Their Instagram, I know social media is all smoke and mirrors, but their Instagram was so much fun. They always had videos of themselves dancing, and it was synchronized dancing. I loved it. Videos with their children. So it was really, really tragic when he died by suicide. It was a little conspiracy-esque as well. And I think that is a part of this here. So I have multiple thoughts about this. And by the way, her memoir has not been released yet. It will be released February 4th. So people that are jumping to attack her and all this stuff, I'm like, okay, I get it. But we haven't read the memoir. We're reading one interview with People magazine. So in her memoir, she tells People magazine, she details some of her struggles with her childhood that was a bit dark, but she also describes in the book some of Twitch's troubles, and she later found some of these out after his death. One thing I'll say that I think is inappropriate, and I don't know if she talks about this, it says in the People magazine interview, she might allude to this, but she says that he was possibly SA'd as a young boy. I feel like this is no one's place. If you are SA'd and you have experienced this and you are a survivor of this, I don't think it's anyone's place to share that. If you have not shared that, and if you have not given permission for someone to share. So I don't know if she does say that, but if she alludes to it, I mean, yeah, I don't think that's right. I really don't. But Wait, I feel like I said Death at a Funeral. I feel like I saw that, but now I can't remember what it is. But I feel like I did see that. So yeah, I think that will be tough. But she describes in this interview, and apparently this is in her memoir, that she was with one of her very dear friends and they were cleaning out his closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And she uncovered a quote cornucopia of drugs, including mushrooms, pills, and other substances that she had to look up on her phone. And she said it was a triggering moment for her because there were a lot of things she discovered in the closet that she didn't know existed. And it was alarming for her to learn that there was so much happening that she had no clue about. She goes on to say, it was a scary moment in my life to figure that out, but it also helped me process that he was going through so much and he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. I mean, again, without reading the book, she has been accused by his family and his friends of a quote smear campaign to make money and to profit off of his death. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think her goal here was to profit off his death. She wrote a memoir. She is a widow. He left her with young children. I believe they had 3 children, at least 2, maybe 3 children. Is she allowed to detail her own experience after his death and what she went through as a mother, as a widower? He died by suicide. He was going through something. And whether or not that's any of our business, I mean, you all can make your own assumptions and opinions on that. But again, without reading the book, I do just feel like the essay thing, yeah, I don't think that's anyone's business. But if she found drugs, she found them. And she was worried. And she did not necessarily see this coming. And yes, Sheila, his death was a shock. So I think that between some of the conspiracies and with what certain people were thinking during all of this, maybe she is providing clarity. And as she says, and she actually responded to a couple posts on social media, she had said something like, yeah, exactly this. She felt she had to share in order to help others. I guess the question would be, if she wasn't making money off of this book and she wasn't, I don't know, if she wasn't doing this for a profit, would they still say it's a smear campaign? Yeah, I saw this too. Liam Payne's ex was trashed for putting out a restraining order on him, but he was having problems. He was doing drugs. And also, oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts about the Liam Payne stuff, the 5 people charged there that I haven't really gone over yet, because it's crazy to me. I mean, the charges for the hotel manager and the receptionist for not stopping Liam from going to his room, knowing that there was a balcony and he was intoxicated. I mean, that makes me very angry that we are supposed to be responsible for these celebrities and the poor decisions that they make. I mean, would they do this if it was you or I that was coming into a hotel intoxicated? I mean, would they help us? Would they get charged if it was our death? It bothers me. But anyway, I should do a part 2 on this because I have 2 minutes to get onto this next stream. But again, if you're joining for the first time, I'm so happy to have you. And I hope that you can like and subscribe to this channel because I will do many more lives. And I'm glad that I jumped on today, even though it was impromptu. I really needed to talk out some of the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni stuff, because I just can't tell if I'm being too one-sided, and I want to hear all sides here. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I will be back. Maybe I'm trying to get Jack Fox to join me soon. For those of you who know him, he's amazing. Human lie detector. Hopefully we can get that done either by tomorrow or next week. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I'll see you later.